Life in the frigid, wild Alaska may seem extreme, but we bet you don't know half of the things that make this state so unique, and so strange, even to Alaskans. Did you know, for example, that in Alaska there are towns where the sun doesn't appear for months, and in others, it never sets in summer? Or that mysterious sea creatures have been seen in its waters that science has not yet been able to explain, and that there are glaciers so enormous that they breathe and creak as if they were living beings? Alaska is a state full of secrets as surprising as they are disturbing, so buckle up because we're going to reveal 50 secrets about Alaska that even many Alaskans don't know. 50. The hidden coral gardens beneath Alaskan waters. When you picture Alaska's oceans, coral reefs probably aren't the first thing that comes to mind. But beneath the frigid waters of the Aleutian Islands lie vast cold water coral gardens, home to species that can live for hundreds of years. Unlike tropical corals that thrive on sunlight, these Alaskan corals grow in darkness, feeding on drifting plankton. Scientists have found formations taller than skyscraper stories, silently shaping marine life. Divers describe them as ghost forests, glowing faintly under subarctic currents. 49. The island that belongs to 2 days at once. Right near the Bering Strait lies the Diomede Islands, Little Diomede, US, and Big Diomede, Russia, just 2.4 miles apart. Here's the kicker. The international date line runs between them. When it's 9 a.m. on Thursday in Little Diomede, it's already 9 a.m. Friday across the water. Locals call it Tomorrow Island and Yesterday Island. On clear days, you can literally see into the future. No time machine required, just a really warm parka and a good pair of binoculars. Before moving on to the next one, be sure to subscribe and like to discover interesting facts to share that few people know about the US states. 48. Alaska has its own sand dunes. Forget palm trees. Alaska's Kobuk Valley National Park has rolling sand dunes that could rival the Sahara. These dunes stretch over 30 square miles, formed thousands of years ago by retreating glaciers that ground rocks into fine particles. The result is a surreal desert set against a backdrop of icy mountains. On rare warm days, temperatures here can hit the 80s, and yes, caribou still stroll through like it's no big deal. 47. There's a town where the sun doesn't rise for 65 days. Barrow, officially known as Utqiagvik, experiences a phenomenon called polar night. Each winter, the sun sets in mid-November and doesn't rise again until late January. The darkness isn't pitch black all the time. A blue twilight lingers for a few hours a day. Locals adapt with bright lamps and community events. Ironically, in summer, they get the exact opposite, over 2 months of continuous daylight. It's a place where time feels suspended between night and day. 46. Alaska has the world's largest floatplane base. Lake Hood, near Anchorage International Airport, isn't your average lake. It's the busiest seaplane base in the world, with over 800 aircraft registered there and hundreds of takeoffs and landings daily during summer. Pilots use it like city commuters use a freeway. You'll see everything from bush planes to luxury float planes, taking off across mirrored waters surrounded by spruce trees. The lake even freezes in winter, but that doesn't stop die-hard aviators who switch to skis instead of floats. 45. There's a town where everyone lives in one building. Whittier, Alaska, is a port town unlike any other. Nearly all its 200 residents live in a single 14-story building known as Begich Towers. It houses apartments, a post office, a church, a grocery store, and even the city hall. It was originally built as a military facility in the 1950s, and now it's the ultimate small town under one roof. During harsh winters, residents can go weeks without stepping outside. Think of it as Alaska's vertical village, one elevator ride away from everything. 44. The ice worm, Alaska's tiny frozen resident. There really is such a thing as an ice worm, and it's found only in Alaska's glaciers. These creatures, less than an inch long, live entirely within the ice and emerge at dusk when the temperature is just right. Scientists still debate how they survive freezing conditions without turning solid themselves. Some locals jokingly claim that ice worms wiggle faster when you sing to them, a myth born from glacier tour guides trying to entertain curious visitors. 43. The Alaska Triangle is a real mystery zone. You've heard of the Bermuda Triangle, but Alaska has one too. Stretching from Anchorage to Juneau to Barrow, this region has one of the highest rates of unexplained disappearances in the world. Planes, hikers, and even small villages have vanished without clear explanation. Some blame weather patterns, others magnetic anomalies, and a few like to whisper about supernatural causes. The area covers nearly 200,000 square miles, making it bigger than many countries. Creepy? Absolutely, but it's also breathtakingly beautiful. 42. Fairbanks has its own natural sauna. Beneath Fairbanks lies a geothermal network that powers several natural hot springs. The most famous, Chena Hot Springs, stays warm even when the air above it hits. 40 to Seitaguro. It's not just a spa, it's a science hub too, running entirely on geothermal energy. Visitors can soak under the northern lights while snowflakes melt on their shoulders. That's as close as you'll ever get to bathing inside a living postcard. 41. Alaska has a secret underwater volcano chain. The Aleutian Arc, stretching westward from the mainland, is home to more than 80 underwater volcanoes, many still active. And these submarine giants are part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. But few people realize how dense this volcanic field really is. Some vents release gases that attract massive schools of fish, while others create bubble plumes visible from the air. Scientists use submarines and drones to map them, uncovering new peaks that were hidden for millennia. 40. The Northern Lights make sounds, sometimes. It sounds like something out of folklore, but reports of the aurora making faint crackling or whistling sounds are real. Under certain conditions, usually during intense geomagnetic storms, static discharges in the lower atmosphere can produce audible noises synchronized with the lights above. It's not loud, more like the distant pop of static electricity. Imagine standing in total silence, watching the sky dance, and hearing a faint whisper from the cosmos. Pure Alaskan magic. 39. The only ice museum that's open year-round. In Chena Hot Springs sits the world's largest year-round ice museum, built entirely of frozen water. It includes ice sculptures, an ice chapel, and even an ice bar that serves martinis in carved ice glasses. Special cooling systems keep the temperature at a constant 25 degree, even in July. Visitors get parkas upon entry, and the beds inside the ice hotel rooms are lined with reindeer hides. It's like living in Elsa's castle, minus the singing snowman. 38. Alaska has a secret rainforest. Yes, you read that right, a rainforest. The Tongass National Forest in southeast Alaska is the largest temperate rainforest in the world. Moss blankets the trees, waterfalls trickle down rocky cliffs, and bald eagles perch like kings. Because of the maritime climate, this region can receive over 200 inches of rain annually. You can find salmon swimming through forest streams and black bears fishing within sight of cruise ships. It's an emerald world hiding behind the state's icy reputation. 37. There's a river that runs backward twice a day in Turnagain Arm near Anchorage. A rare natural event called a boar tide happens when ocean tides rush into the narrow inlet so powerfully that they reverse the river's flow. The wave can reach up to 10 feet high and travel for miles. Surfers actually chase it, riding the wave for 20 minutes straight. It's one of the longest surfable tidal bores on Earth, and it happens almost every day right under the watchful eyes of Dall sheep on the cliffs. 36. Alaska has its own mini Stonehenge made of whale bones. On the northern coast, near Point Hope, stands a haunting monument called the Inupiat Whalebone Arch, made from the jawbones of bowhead whales. It was built by native hunters centuries ago as a ceremonial site. The bones rise against the horizon like frozen ivory tusks overlooking the Arctic Ocean. Archaeologists believe it marked sacred grounds tied to the whale migration. Today, it's a silent reminder of the deep bond between Alaskans and the sea. 35. There's a town that gets supplies only once a year. The village of McGrath depends on the annual barge delivery each summer before the rivers freeze. Everything, from canned food to construction materials, arrives during that brief window. Miss it and you're waiting until next year. It's the ultimate test of preparation. Locals plan their shopping lists like military logistics down to the last gallon of fuel. It's a way of life that blends patience, precision, and survival instincts you won't find anywhere else. 34. Alaska is home to the world's longest glacier in the US. The Bering Glacier stretches more than 118 miles, making it the largest glacier in North America. To put that in perspective, it's longer than the distance between New York City and Philadelphia. It's constantly moving, though slowly, pushing mountains of ice toward the Gulf of Alaska. Scientists monitor it closely because its meltwater can affect sea levels worldwide. Standing near its edge feels like being at the border between two worlds. Ancient ice and than modern Earth. 33. The midnight baseball game tradition. In Fairbanks, every June 21st, locals celebrate the summer solstice with a full 9-inning baseball game that starts at 10:30 p.m. without artificial lights. The sun never sets, so the players swing under golden twilight at midnight. It's been happening for over a century, and even major league players have joined in. The crowd cheers with sunglasses on, proving that in Alaska, night games can happen in broad daylight. 32. The state has a law protecting sleeping bears. Yes, it's illegal in Alaska to wake a sleeping bear to take a photo. It's one of those laws that sounds like a joke, but is absolutely real, born from too many overzealous tourists thinking bears were photogenic models. Disturbing wildlife carries heavy penalties, and for good reason. An annoyed grizzly is not the souvenir you want to bring home. So if you see a bear snoozing peacefully, let it nap. That's an Alaskan rule worth respecting. 31. The most isolated post office in America, located in the town of Chicken. This post office is so remote that it operates seasonally and depends on small aircraft for mail delivery. The town's name came about because residents couldn't agree on how to spell ptarmigan, the local bird, so they settled for Chicken. It's home to fewer than a dozen year-round residents, but every piece of mail gets stamped Chicken, Alaska, making it a favorite among collectors. 30. Alaska has a real-life ghost town in the sky. Perched high in the Wrangell Mountains lies Kennecott, a copper mining town abandoned in the 1930s. But it's not just decaying wood and rusted rails, it's perfectly preserved, almost frozen in time. Inside the mills, you'll still find lunchboxes, ledgers, and machinery waiting for workers who never returned. Park rangers say it's eerily quiet, except for the wind echoing through the empty shafts. Some call it Alaska's Pompeii, an industrial relic swallowed by wilderness. 29. There's a road to nowhere that just stops in the woods. The Dalton Highway, stretching 414 miles from Fairbanks to Deadhorse, is the most isolated road in the US. What most travelers don't realize is that it was never meant for tourists. It was built for the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. Past a certain point, it simply ends. No town, no rest stop, just tundra and the open Arctic sky. Truckers joke that the Dalton doesn't take you places, it tests if you belong here. A fitting motto for Alaska's loneliest stretch of pavement. 28. There's a secret ice cave beneath a glacier that moves every year. Under the Mendenhall Glacier near Juneau lies a network of turquoise blue ice caves that constantly reshape themselves. They're formed by meltwater rivers carving tunnels beneath the glacier. The catch, they're dangerously unstable. Some collapse entirely after a single season. Photographers chase these caves like treasure hunters, knowing that what exists one summer could vanish by the next. Standing inside feels like being inside a frozen sapphire that breathes. 27. Alaska has a secret military base, hidden beneath the ice. Few people realize that Cold War era installations still lie buried under Alaska's permafrost. One such site near Fort Greely was part of their early warning system, a chain of radar stations designed to detect incoming missiles. While decommissioned, the infrastructure remains entombed in ice, preserved like time capsules of a tense era. Satellite images still show faint geometric patterns in the snow, like scars of a secret history now reclaimed by nature. 26. The largest national park in the US is bigger than some countries. Wrangell St. Elias National Park covers over 13 million acres, larger than Switzerland and Costa Rica combined. Most of it is roadless wilderness filled with glaciers, volcanoes, and peaks taller than Denali's neighbors. Yet fewer than 100,000 people visit each year. If you hike for a day, you might not see another human. Rangers joke that you're more likely to meet a moose than a tourist. It's America's final frontier inside the frontier state. 25. The town that's always on the move, literally. Newtok, a small Yupik village, is slowly being eaten by erosion. Rising sea levels and melting permafrost cause the land to sink by several feet every year. The community has begun relocating inland, an unprecedented effort that's making it the first US town officially displaced by climate change. Every few months, surveyors record the land cracking, houses tilting, and the tundra swallowing its own streets. It's a haunting reminder that Alaska's secrets aren't all frozen in time. Some are melting away. 24. The town without roads, accessible only by air or sea. Juneau, Alaska's capital, can't be reached by road from the rest of the US. Despite being the state's political hub, it's surrounded by impassable mountains and glaciers. Everything and everyone arrives by plane or ferry. Imagine a state capital where a flat tire means calling a float plane instead of roadside assistance. Locals often say, you don't drive to Juneau, you commit to it. It's remote governance at its finest. 23. There's a lake that freezes with perfectly clear ice. Portage Lake, near Anchorage, sometimes freezes so clear in winter that you can see straight through to the rocks below, dozens of feet deep. Locals call it the Glass Lake. On calm days, it looks like you're walking on air. Skaters glide over it as fish move beneath their feet, and it's almost disorienting, like balancing over liquid crystal. The secret? Minimal snow cover and constant cold that prevents air bubbles from forming. 22. Alaska has a wildflower that can grow taller than a person. Meet the fireweed, a magenta blossom that thrives in burned or disturbed land. During midsummer, these flowers can tower over 6 feet tall, blanketing valleys in vivid pink. The plant's growth is so predictable that locals use it as a natural calendar. When fireweed blooms reach the top of the stem, summer is almost over. In a state where the season's end can sneak up fast, it's nature's way of setting the clock. 21. The mysterious Devil's Canyon that few have seen. On the Susitna River lies a roaring gorge so fierce that even veteran boat captains avoid it. Known as Devil's Canyon, it's a 10-mile stretch of whitewater with waves taller than houses. Helicopter tours give the only safe glimpse, where you can watch the river churn between cliffs that seem alive. Scientists studying erosion patterns say it's one of the most geologically violent places in North America. A reminder that Alaska's wild heart beats loudest where few dare to go. 20. The northernmost forest in the world. The boreal forest north of Fairbanks marks the edge of where trees can survive before tundra takes over. Spruce trees here grow stunted, twisted by cold winds and poor soil, yet they stand resilient, forming the last green line before the Arctic. Scientists study them to understand how vegetation adapts to extreme cold. Locals just call it the line of life, the point where the forest takes one last breath before the ice begins. 19. The giant vegetables of the midnight sun. In the Matanuska Valley near Palmer, vegetables grow to monstrous sizes. We're talking 100-pound cabbages, 35-pound broccoli heads, and carrots the size of baseball bats. The secret? Nearly 20 hours of daily sunlight in summer. Farmers here hold world records for produce size, and every August the state fair turns into a vegetable carnival. When you see a cabbage the size of a car tire, you start to understand why Alaska doesn't do anything halfway. 18. The only place in the US where you can see the Russian coast. On clear days from Little Diomede Island, you can spot Russia's Big Diomede Island just across the frozen Bering Strait. It's less than 3 miles away, so close you could, in theory, walk between the two in winter, though it's illegal. For residents, the view is a daily reminder of how thin the line between continents really is. They joke that they wave at tomorrow every morning, since the other side is literally a day ahead. 17. There's a beach made of broken glass that sparkles like gems. Glass Beach near Homer is covered in thousands of smooth, colorful glass pebbles, remnants of old discarded bottles polished by the ocean. Over decades, the waves turned trash into treasure, transforming the shoreline into a glittering rainbow. At sunset, the entire beach seems to glow. Locals warn not to take the glass, though. It's part of an unintentional art installation by nature herself. 16. The most dangerous airport landing in North America. St. Paul Island's airport, perched in the middle of the Bering Sea, regularly tops lists of America's most treacherous runways. Fierce crosswinds, fog so thick you can't see the wingtips, and no alternate airports within hundreds of miles make every landing a white-knuckle event. Pilots train specifically for it. When your flight touches down safely, the whole cabin claps, and no one blames them. 15. The town where bears outnumber people. In Katmai National Park's Brooks Camp during salmon season, hundreds of brown bears gather along the river. Meanwhile, only a few dozen humans are allowed in at a time. Rangers operate strict bear viewing platforms where the animals are so close you can hear them breathing. Despite their numbers, the bears largely ignore humans, too busy fishing. It's one of the few places on Earth where people truly feel like the visitors. 14. The forgotten gold mine hidden under a glacier. Somewhere beneath Alaska's icy peaks lies the remnants of the Treadwell mine, which collapsed in 1917 when seawater flooded its tunnels. Parts of it are still buried under ice and rock. Divers who've explored the nearby underwater sections report eerie sights. Frozen ladders, rusted carts, and gold ore veins sealed away forever. It's a time capsule of ambition entombed by nature's indifference. 13. The ice algae that turns snow pink. During summer, parts of Alaska's snowfields blush pink due to a microscopic algae nicknamed watermelon snow. Despite its cheerful color, it smells nothing like fruit and slightly accelerates melting by absorbing more heat. Hikers say it's surreal to see rosy snowbanks glowing under a blue sky. Scientists study it as an indicator of climate change, but it's also proof that Alaska's palette extends far beyond white and gray. 12. The Alaskan town powered by fish waste. In Kodiak, renewable energy takes an unexpected turn. Fish oil from the island's processing plants is converted into biofuel. It powers buses, generators, and even parts of the electrical grid. The town has reduced its reliance on imported fuel by over 90%. When you realize that salmon lights up homes as well as dinner plates, you start to grasp Alaska's knack for innovation in the most surprising ways. 11. The rainiest place in North America. Ketchikan receives an astonishing 13 feet of rain per year, more than many tropical rainforests. Locals joke that if you see someone carrying an umbrella, they're a tourist, because residents prefer hoods and rain gear. Wooden boardwalks crisscross the town to keep feet dry, and moss grows everywhere, even on rooftops. Yet the constant drizzle keeps the scenery lush, painting the town in 50 shades of green. Before moving on to the top 10, remember to subscribe to the channel and give it a like to become a wise expert in American geography. 10. The glacier that moves like a living creature. The Hubbard Glacier near Yakutat isn't static. It surges. It can advance up to 7 feet per day, bulldozing icebergs the size of houses into the bay. Every few years, it temporarily blocks an inlet, creating a massive freshwater lake that eventually bursts. Scientists call it the Galloping Glacier. Watching it move feels like witnessing the planet breathe in slow motion. 9. Alaska's hidden tropical island. Believe it or not, Adak Island in the Aleutians occasionally experiences lush, flower-filled summers due to warm Pacific currents. During these brief months, the tundra blooms in purple and gold, and the air smells faintly sweet. It's a surreal sight. Palms won't grow there, but wild orchids do. Locals say it's like watching Alaska put on a Hawaiian disguise. 8. The lake that never freezes. Even in deep winter, in the middle of the Brooks Range lies Lake Schroeder, kept liquid year-round by geothermal springs below it. When nearby lakes are frozen solid, this one steams faintly under the moonlight, creating an otherworldly mist. Caribou sometimes gather around it for warmth, forming a living ring of silhouettes. It's a quiet miracle in a place that spends most of the year locked in ice. 7. The hidden canyon that glows in the dark. Deep in southeastern Alaska, some limestone caves contain bioluminescent microorganisms that faintly glow when disturbed. They light up in shades of green and blue, like a natural galaxy trapped underground. Only a handful of spelunkers have documented it, as access requires special permits and ropes. The glow doesn't last long, just enough to make you question whether you imagined it. 6. The secret blue hole in the ocean. Near Sitka, sonar maps revealed a deep underwater sinkhole over 700 feet down. Scientists are still studying its formation, but it's believed to be a remnant of a collapsed volcanic vent. The waters there are eerily calm, and local fishermen swear the fish avoid it. Its official name? The Sitka Abyssal Pit. Unofficially, some call it Alaska's Eye. 5. The hidden ice caves of Mount Spur. Mount Spur, an active volcano west of Anchorage, hides ice caves formed by geothermal vents melting tunnels through its glacier cap. The mixture of fire and ice creates surreal chambers glowing blue and orange from mineral deposits. They're dangerous, unstable, and beautiful, proof that opposites not only attract but coexist spectacularly in Alaska. 4. Alaska's underground river you can hear but not see. In the Talkeetna Mountains, hikers sometimes report the sound of rushing water under solid rock. Geologists confirm that subterranean rivers carved by melting glaciers run beneath the landscape, echoing faintly to the surface. You can't see them, but stand still and you'll hear what sounds like a heartbeat beneath your boots. A whisper from the hidden plumbing of the earth. 3. The town that celebrates the coldest day of the year. In Tok, every January, residents throw a festival not despite the 60-degree temperatures, but because of them. The Extreme Cold Weather Classic features frozen turkey bowling, beard freezing contests, and even races where coffee turns to snow mid-air. It's the kind of humor only Alaskans could master, laughing right in winter's icy face. 2. The ocean that freezes in stripes. Each winter, the Bering Sea forms patterned ice bands caused by alternating layers of salt concentration. Seen from the air, the ocean looks like it's wrapped in zebra stripes of white and blue. Scientists call them brine channels. Fishermen just call them the sea's fingerprints. They're fleeting artworks that vanish come spring. 1. The hidden waterfall inside a glacier. Inside the exit glacier near Seward flows a hidden waterfall that never sees daylight. Meltwater runs through a vertical shaft, creating a roaring cascade completely enclosed in ice. You can hear it, but you can't see it unless the glacier opens a crevasse at just the right moment. Those lucky enough to witness it describe it as nature's heartbeat echoing through frozen walls. The greatest Alaskan secret isn't buried gold, a phantom signal, or a hidden glacier. It's this: Alaska keeps what you're not ready to understand. Those who come searching for proof often leave with silence, the kind that chills and enlightens all at once. It's not emptiness, but invitation, a reminder that in the farthest corner of the earth, there are still places where mystery wins, not because it's unknown, but because it's unforgotten. Now that you know the secrets of Alaska, tell me, do you think you could move to this state if you had the chance? Would you dare to live there? We would love to read your opinion in the comments and find out how many of us agree. What we are sure many of us share is a curiosity to continue learning and having something interesting to talk about. And that's exactly what you'll find in the video on the screen. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give me a like. Otherwise, we may never see each other again.